Hello everybody, nice to have you here. Today we will talk again about API mesh. And if you don't know what the API mesh is, follow on this playlist back, and there are quite a bunch of videos which already explain what is that. And we will talk today about the CI/CD process of API mesh. So the Adobe aligned, let's say so, the normal CI/CD process for API mesh only several weeks ago, and yeah, I feel it like a duty to try it. And yeah, so what I want to achieve, I want to be able to update API mesh within the repository, because currently when the team is working and somebody creating new endpoints, providing new fields, you always need to update mesh. So because the schema is generated on a mesh creation or update, and then it's not changing, so it's not reflecting changes that's made in original APIs. You need to be able to update it, and to do it, usually you need to do it from local environment, from your console, and run Adobe API mesh update. You don't want to do it manually always, so because every developer have to have it installed. Also, you need to have some possibility to trigger this update without every time logging with your console. Yeah, so to have some options for doing it. And by hitting Adobe several times, they could release the CI/CD processes for this one. So what they release the GitHub pipelines, the GitHub actions, which can be used for updating your mesh within the GitHub. So every time when somebody is pushing the code into your repository, the GitHub is triggering a new action and updating the mesh, so you don't need to worry about its state, and yeah, your life is much more easier. So let's try it today. I mean, I'm quite excited. Spoiler, I already did it. So there's the documentation. As usual, link will be pasted in the description. What do you need? You need already existed API mesh. So the CI/CD pipelines are not creating a new one. They're working only with existed one, which totally makes sense for me. So let's go to our API mesh environment, and for that we need to add the possibility for the CI/CD to authorize. And for that, we add in the new API, and it's IO management API. It's our server to server, and that's it. So that's only service or only API you need to add to your builder, which is quite easy. So you don't need any other actions, and all other is more work that have to be done to prepare an action. If you follow the documentation, I pasted there, all examples already exist here, and you can just copy this big part of the documentation here, except this part, it shall not be here. Honestly, that's a mistake. But I will also share the action which I have, so you can also use it. What is it doing? Maybe just shortly going through it. So it's doing the checkout of the Adobe modules, which is responsible for so it's doing, in this case, it's action checkout and setup node itself. So it's preparing the environment. Then it's setting up Adobe CLI, Adobe Mesh plugin, and then doing authorization with the keys you will provide, or we will provide now. Then it's selecting your organization, your project, and your workspace, and then doing update. So it's super easy. The first part is authorization, the another part is preparation and doing update. So let's try it. I have a GitHub repository I prepared, which is a simple one. It's contained only the mesh file, which I want to update, and also then the workflows files, which here called deploy. So what we need to do as a preparation, we need to define those variables, which you're doing into the project settings. And here you have a secret and variables, and then you have an actions, and then you need to add all repository secrets. To get them, you're going back to your project, you go into environment, so let's say in our case the stage environment, then you download this file. By downloading this file, you will receive a bunch of the configuration of your project. So let me open it. I will speed up a process here a bit, just will now tell you what is where, and then we'll do it myself. So we have here the bunch of the variables, and what, by the way, the difference between original, so you have you may have set of the variables per environment, so it's one per production, one per station, for example. But like variables like organization, project ID, they're the same usually. I mean, you don't have multiple projects for the same mesh. This means those 3 variables are fixed for the whole year project, and those 5 are different. Depends on which environment you are. So if you want to have it more or less the dynamic, you can define here dynamic variables depends on the branch you are in or on the environment. We will do it fixed. And yeah, for this one, we would need to create them. Just to show it where they can be found. That's, by the way, very nice. I love it, this nice table. So it's telling where you can find the data in your file. So we have client ID. We have client secret. We have technical account ID. We have account email, account ID. And what else is dynamic here? It's a project workspace ID. So that's a workspace ID. And then you have those organizational, which are fixed, which is an ID. It's EMS organization ID and project ID. Project ID, project ID here. So quite easy. Let me configure them and then we can run it. So we are done. We have a variable set. Now we can go to actions. We can go to CI. That's an action which appeared here, and then we can just run it against the main branch, in my case, as we're testing now. Yeah, that's it. So it's doing some magic behind. We can wait a bit. So, and that's what we wanted to see. Update mesh, success. And here the update mesh log. So your mesh should be provisioned. Awesome, right? So it's quite simple. Feel free to use. What is missing for me is a GitLab integration. I will try to build it someday in the future. I mean, how missing the all data, like all methods and possibilities are there, just have to be built because it's pure GitHub here. Yeah, that's it. I hope it was interesting for you. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to hit this like button. Don't forget to send it to your friend. Yeah, then have a nice rest of the day, night. Bye-bye.